Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم, تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse, Surah Al-Mulk, reminds us about one of his names, one of his attributes, Al-Malik, Malik Al-Mulk, the true owner, the King of Kings, the Lord, the one in control. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, blessed be the one whom in his hands is the dominion. Nothing happens in this world except with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As a believer going through the waves and the storms of the life of this world, facing sometimes good times and bad times, things that I like, things I don't like, hardship, ease, good people, not that good people, tyrants. I always remember what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. ما شاء الله كان وما لم يشأ لم يكن. Whatever Allah wills will be. And whatever Allah does not will never be. والله غالب على أمره ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. Allah's overpowering. Whatever He wants will happen. He's in control. Every single thing that happens is under His sight. And He can change things in a blink of an eye. And never lose hope. Ever. No matter what happens. No matter how the tyranny prevails. Because I know who's Al-Malik. It's Allah. And I've seen it before, and we've seen it in the Quran. Great leaders, great rulers, and Namrud, great tyrant of his time. How did his story end? How did Allah with a mosquito? His end came with a mosquito that came. The Namrud, the end is mosquito. That's it. Finished. Subhanallah, right? You find the Fir'aun, water, drowned, done. I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when victory comes, don't worry. He gets it sometimes with the smallest of things. Why? He's in control. He's showing us. So when you see another Namrud, tyrant, don't despair. It's a matter of time. He'll come down too. There were people before him like him, right? But Allah says in this verse to remind us so that we don't lose focus. تبارك الذي بيده الملك. Don't ever forget that. He is al-Malik. Don't get frustrated. وهو على كل شيء قدير. And He's capable of doing anything He wants. Al-Qadir is Allah. He is the true superpower. There is no Qadir but Allah. That's the meaning of لا إله إلا الله. القدير هو الله فقط. Right? وهو على كل شيء قدير. الذي خلق الموت والحياة. He's the one that created opposites. He's the one that created death and life. Opposite things, good things, bad things, tears and smiles. Those are the things we pass through in this life. And He's informing us. Right? I'm in control. I'm al-Malik. This is Allah. But guess what? There will be things in this life that you might not like. There will be death and there will be life. There will be justice. There will be tyranny. There is good. There is evil. But remember, Allah is al-Malik. So, Ya Rabbi, why? Why sometimes you let evil prevail? Why does sometimes, a hardship continues? لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. He created those opposites, those situations that we don't like. And of course, we want ease to test you. Which among you will do the most excellent of deeds, the most beautiful of deeds? And as I said before, and I'm repeating it, excellence, ihsan, beauty, is to be performed on the stage of calamities, afflictions, hard time, tyranny, tears, bad things. This is the stage upon which acts of excellence are to be performed. What do you mean? It's beautiful to see a young man, 14, 15, 16, coming to the masjid at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning. Why? It's time for Fajr. Allahu Akbar. God is greater. God is greater than my exam. God is greater than my lecture. God is greater than my sleep. Allahu Akbar. It's 5 a.m. He comes to the masjid and he calls the adhan. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Beautiful. That's a beautiful act. But you know what's more beautiful? To see another man of the age of 16 in Gaza, where he's being bombed and he doesn't know he's going to live or not. And his masjid has been bombed, tyranny, destroyed, rebels. Yet this young man, who's in the midst of all this, wakes up in the Fajr time, goes, stands on top of a destroyed masjid, its rebels, exposed. And Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Even if you do that, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. That is beautiful. It's beautiful to sit here and make dua. I see our brothers and sisters being oppressed, so I raise my hands. It's beautiful to see someone crying, pleading for Allah, waking up in the night, 1 hour, half an hour, 10 minutes. That's beautiful. But you know what's more beautiful? To hear about people over there in Gaza. Their family killed. They've been oppressed not for 1 month, not for 2 months, 70 years. And they say, we are making dua for you. What's that? See, that's, when you look at this is ihsan. Calamities, afflictions show levels of the humans that are beyond imagination. That is why Allah commanded the angels bow down to this humankind. Because they are capable of things that are beyond. Bilal ibn Rabah, what was the best day in his life? Oppression is bad. What happened to him was painful. Throwing him in the desert, tormenting him, because you're more powerful and he's helpless. What can you do? And the Muslims are completely helpless to do anything. They're watching. Bilal is being tortured every day. And you as a Muslim can sit, do nothing about it. Because you're weak. And the other side, the tyranny they have, and they torture him. That's terrible. That's bad. We don't like that, of course. But when he decides to say Ahadun Ahad, that is the best day in his life. That he won. That day, he won. That day, the worst day, because it's extremely painful. That is the day that made Bilal Bilal. Without that, you will not see Bilal. There is no opportunity for ihsan. So when we watch oppression, when we watch tyranny, when we watch hard time, we have to remember that. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to do something out of the box. It is. It is an opportunity for me to reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Victory, brothers and sisters, is when I do that. Ali ibn Abi Talib, therefore, reminding us of a very important concept, life concept. Ali ibn Abi Talib, the cousin of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Do you know who Ali ibn Abi Talib is? He lived to see times that were not that great. He lived to see times where some Muslims killed Uthman ibn Affan. Some Muslims declared him as a kafir. Can you imagine? Ali ibn Abi Talib, Khawarij. He lived to see that. And they revolted. And he had to fight them. And people let him down many times. And very frustration. Let's start. And people beside him got frustrated. Things aren't that great. People are dying. Look at the Muslims are killing each other. What's wrong? What's going on? So to remind people about what's good, what's bad. Is it good times? Is it bad times? No, this time is not a good time. It's a bad time. And he says, no. Let me redefine that for you. The definition of good or bad. Is what's happening good or bad? Let's change our definition. He says the following. Ya bunay, my son, ما خير تتبعه النار بخير وما شر تتبعه الجنة بشر وعطاء في هذه الدنيا لا يمكن أن يسمى عطاء لأنه ينتهي بالموت. Says, son, keep that in perspective. What you call as good times, happy times, great khayr, abundance that is followed by hellfire cannot be called khayr. And evil, hardship, pain, sorrow, terrible situations, they're really terrible. Shar, evil. But if they are followed by Jannah, they are not evil anymore. And he said gifts, abundance in the life of this world can never be called gifts because it will end by death. Real gift is Jannah. This is what's good. Anything in this life that through which I end up in Jannah was the best day for me. And anything in this life, including ease, victory, power, strength, ease, that leads me to hellfire was the worst day in my life. This is how I define things. Good news, bad news. Hassan al-Basri said the same thing, because again, we hear so many news nowadays. Did you hear the news? Did you hear the news? Was it good or bad? Hassan al-Basri comments. He lived through, again, very turbulent time. Tyrants like Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf did terrible things. And he says, son, if you did not hear your name mentioned in the list of people going to Jannah, you have not heard any good news yet. And son, if you did not hear your name mentioned in the list of people going to hellfire, you have not heard any bad news yet. Really, keep it in perspective. Good news, bad news, that's it. Anything compared to this, put it in perspective. It's not really bad yet. This is the good news, this is the bad news. Victory is when I'm able to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and He is happy with me. Victory is not overpowering our enemy. Not necessarily true. Many companions, many prophets, Zakaria alayhi salam, Yahya alayhi salam, they stood for the cause of Allah. إن تنصروا الله ينصركم ويثبت أقدامكم. If you stand for the cause of Allah, Allah promises He will be with you. He will give you victory. He promised. But wait a minute. They got killed. Zakaria alayhi salam got killed. Yahya alayhi salam got killed. Where is victory? Allah promised victory. Where is it? You know what's victory? They did not trade off their morals. They did not bow down. They did not change their identity. They said La ilaha illallah. They're victorious. You can take their life from them, but you cannot take their iman from their heart. They're victorious. They were made to be Allah enabled them to be steadfast in the face of tyranny, to continue to say La ilaha illallah, even that is victory. Victory is the moment I meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and He tells me, I am happy with you. Whatever led to that is good. And I was victorious. The opposite. Overpowering my enemy, becoming tyrant and losing myself and losing my morals and losing my identity to achieve victory and ending up in hellfire, that's no victory. That's no victory at all. That's the worst thing ever for us. When we see what's happening, brothers and sisters, many people ask, what can we do? This question, because we're not used to this concept of being helpless. As a human being, I'm without the will of La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. What's new? ما شاء الله كان وما لم يشأ لم يكن. I want to be of use. I want to do something, right? And tell me what to do. Yeah, I can tell you what to do. You know what's the problem? I am speaking to myself. Are we willing to do? Are we willing? And that's the question. No, please tell me. Okay, I'll tell you some very practical things. Number one, it's one thing to be a tyrant. It's one thing to kill people. Terrible. Using terrible things, killing children, bombing hospitals, it's just incredibly bad. But there is something actually worse. What is it? How can you do that? How can you oppress people? How can you kill by the thousand and appear as a victim? How can you do those evil things and the whole world is clapping for you? How did you do that? Killing someone is incredibly bad. By the way, killing one Muslim, destruction of the Kaaba is lesser evil than killing one Muslim in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how much one life is worth. Let alone 6,000 and 7,000 and who knows? And now we got desensitized. You look and it's just 52 days. It's a good day. What's going on? What's worse than this is the ability to do this, yet in the eyes of other people, convince people that you are okay. Deception. What are you speaking about? Look, there is a principle in Islam, like through the Quran and the Sunnah, that says the following: لِكُلِّ مَلِكٍ ظَالِمٍ سَاحِرٍ. Every oppressive ruler, every oppressive tyrant has a magician. Fir'aun had his magicians, right? The people of the ditch, when you read the story, كَانَ مَلِكٌ وَكَانَ لَهُ سَاحِرٌ. There was an oppressive tyrant ruler. They always existed in the past. They will exist in our time and they will continue to exist in the future. But whenever you see an oppressive ruler, he'll have a magician. But wait a minute. Today there are oppressive rulers. I don't think it's Harry Potter. That's not the magician I'm speaking about. Who's the magician? The Prophet ﷺ said, Inna min al-bayani la sihr. Surely from the ability to articulate, express, project things, that which have the effect of magic. Who's today's magician? Media? Every oppressive king, Hitler had so. If you're you need the media, why? The spell of magic. To make things look, magic is what? You make a snake look like a snake. It's not a snake, but I deceive the eyes of people. It's a snake. No, it's a snake, right? Exactly the same thing. Those are oppressed people. No, they're barbaric. They're barbaric. How did you do that? Media, the ability to articulate and project things, it can do the effect of magic. Why is that so bad? I'll tell you why that's so bad. Because it's one thing to take the life of a person. It's terrible. But it's another to take the hereafter of another person. By deceiving people, you're turning people away from Islam. You're turning people away from the truth. You're making people oppressors. They are losing their hereafter. Those are American people. They're good people. They're good. Most of them are good people. But deceiving them, making them do things that it's a horrible thing. Now, why am I saying this? We live in the West, brothers and sisters. What's our duty? We serve Allah where Allah placed us. We happen to live in the West. Who should confront that magician? Upon whose shoulder does this responsibility lie? We are privileged. We have intellect. We're educated. We have money. Freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want. Nothing is preventing us. The other side is making good use of this. Day in, day out. Not only now. They have been speaking a month ago, a year ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Systematic brainwashing. You want me, when something happens, to speak in one day, undo what has been happening for 5? They've been, you know what I'm speaking about. Conditioning. You know what conditioning is? This is what's going on with the media. Conditioning people, right? Day in, day out, day in, day out. So when something happens, where are we? So tell me what to do. I'll tell you what to do. I'll tell, this is a suggestion, practical. And I hope, please take that carefully. Our problem is we're looking for a short-term solution. Tell me what to do now. This is not a short-term problem, brothers and sisters. This is not the first time. We just forgot. 12, okay, let me start. 2006, Lebanon. You remember? What are you speaking about? I remember. They bombed Beirut airport. They killed children. Same thing. 2008, Gaza. 2012, Gaza. 2018, Gaza. It's not something new. But we react on a short term and we get really angry. Then what? 1 month from now, where will we be? That's my question. We need a long-range solution. So what do we do? You told us about the media. What's a long-range solution? Here is it. Donate. Yeah, I'm ready to donate to Palestine. No. Let's make it. Donate. Let's gather all our money and put it in an endowment. Let's gather we have $100 million between the Muslims and what prevents us from gathering such kind of money? Put it in an endowment. And what do you want? With the income coming from that endowment, let's hire professional people. What's their task? Stand against the magician. Win the narrative back. One of the worst weapons used against us is this. We are being demonized. We are being like, we are the victims. We can't let that happen. And don't think we are safe. We're next. It's going to affect us too here. It's serious. We have to do something. And this something is not a short term. Long term, gather the money, put it in an endowment, hire professional people, really. And their task is not now, day in, day out. This is your job for life. And professional in what? Computer graphics, social media, TikTok, rap, you name it. Humanize Muslims, humanize Palestinians. Propose to go, like, stand against the magician. Make it hard for them, not easy for them. That's our task. Why can't we do this? Well, we don't talk to each other. Well, am I ready to donate? Donate. Yes, I can donate. I'm going to ask you this. And I ask this to myself, by the way, before anybody else. Are you ready to donate to Palestine? Of course. Don't you like what's... Of course. I'm ready. I want you, and I'm speaking, this is what I told myself. You know your income. I want 10% from every check, every single month, not today, for the rest of your life to go to Palestine. Am I ready to do that? No, that's too much. What does that mean? Am I truthful? If everybody is like me, that's why things doesn't change. The other side, brothers and sisters, that's what they do. They're committed to their cause. How can they be that committed? And I'm not willing to do that. It's inconvenient. I want other people to do something, but not me. That's why we have a problem. The problem is this attitude that starts by, I have to change. I have to unlock this ability. There's so much, too many attachment to worldly things that يا أيها الذين آمنوا ما لكم إذا قيل لكم انفروا في سبيل الله إذ ثقلتم إلى الأرض أرضيتم بالحياة الدنيا. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh, you who believe, why is it? What's wrong with you? When the call comes, you stand up for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are weighed heavy. You're shackled by weights, grounded. Weights of what? Did you accept the worldly gains of this life? I have too many shackles. That's not allowing me to. What am I willing to sacrifice? How much? My living standard. If I'm not willing to sacrifice anything, including my monthly, how will the problem get solved? Therefore, the problem is me. So this is the first. The second thing that is, please, this is very important. The best thing to give to the people of Palestine, the best thing. Do not make it in vain. What do you mean? Pain is bad. But if pain has a cause and a meaning and a good result, you'll say it's worth it. If I'm a parent and my son is dying and you take away my kidney, I will say it's worth it. I'll do it again. If you save my son, wallahi, I'll do it again. If a building is in fire and my daughter is inside, I'm willing to risk my life to save her. If I die, it's worth it. See, why is it worth it? Because I saved somebody. A hero is somebody that is willing to lose his life to save the life of another person, right? A superhero is one that is willing to lose his life to save the hereafter of other people. What do you mean? We're not doing that well. We're in the state of ghafla. We're far from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Certain people have to die for us to wake up. What's going on? Who am I? Where do I stand? What's my cause in life? When we are privileged, you know the word privileged? We are very privileged. Privileged people do not have the luxury of living, hey, I pray 5 times a day, I get married, I have my job, and that's it. No, you can't. If you're privileged and you do not advocate for the oppressed people, who will? I have a responsibility. I can't live this way. I can't. Especially living in the West, I can't. When will I wake up? Waking up. What do you mean waking up? When I decide, this is not right. Where have I been? I have a duty. I have a bigger cause in my life. This is what made Salah ad-Din and his generation come forth. They realized this is not a Palestinian, this is a Muslim issue. This is the Aqsa Mosque. It's not a Palestinian issue at all. I don't care if the Palestinians are all gone, the issue is still alive. This is Aqsa. Somebody takes Mecca and Medina. Will you accept that? No, never. I know who will do something. I need to wake up. And I don't need to sleep back again. Unfortunately, we have what I would call, astaghfirullah, a Coca-Cola response. You know, a bottle of Coke, you shake it, it's a lot of fizz, it's a lot of problem, you know, it's a lot of mess. but then it dies down. You shake it again, same response. Then it dies again. You shake it again, same response. And you shake it again, and khalas, it lost its fizz. It got desensitized. Is that me? I have a Coca-Cola response. I get really angry, really upset. Please go to demonstrations. Please donate. But if after 1 month I'm back to normal, we didn't do anything. Waking up means what? When I decide to change forever. When I understand that sometimes Allah would afflict someone with a problem because it wakes another person up. I personally met a person in Mission Viejo. Young Afghani guy. He told me I was very far from Allah. Very far. You know what woke me up? I said, what? He said, my grandfather. I said, what did he do? He said he didn't do anything. He's a righteous man that prays, and towards the end of his life, he was afflicted with disease. And I felt so sorry for him. And then he went into a coma. And I was, Ya Rabbi, that was the one that prays. It's why? And he said, I saw my grandfather. When the time of Salah comes, he's unconscious. He starts making wudu and starts praying while he's unconscious. So this young man said, look at that. That woke me up. That caused me to return back to Allah. The affliction of that man woke somebody up. It saved his hereafter. Is it worth what they're going through? If we decide to continue sleeping, if we decide not to wake up, if we decide to mind our own business, Allah will reward them. There is no question. But do not make it in vain. Respond. Decide to change. Do something. In me, I have to wake up as a Muslim, personally. Those diseases shackling me, it's the problem. Where do you think Salah ad-Din came from? Salah ad-Din was not a superhero that appeared and just liberated Jerusalem. No. He was a representative of a whole generation. You know, when you see a beautiful flower, everybody admires what a beautiful flower. Did you ever admire the root of the flower? It's under the ground doing all the work. Nobody admires the root. But if the root is there, even if you cut a flower, another flower will grow. Salah ad-Din has roots. He's a student of a scholar, Al-Hafidh ibn Asakir. Salah ad-Din has roots. His wife, his sister, Al-Qadi al-Fadil, every single person around him, they were doing their duty. Their duty wasn't to be on the front line. It's a system that worked together. It's a generation. Everybody did his job. Everybody understood. Al-Qadi al-Fadil, this is a judge. When he saw what's happening, he came, he had a piece of land. He donated this land to do what? Free prisoners of war. He dedicated that. Every income, every year coming from this land, free Muslim prisoners. Everybody contributed. We have to be able to give. We have to change. Please, let's not sleep. And I will tell you this, the biggest gift, again, we can give to the people of Palestine is our own selves. If we wake, if I was that person that can not come to Fajr, if I'm that person that, are you still going to be like telling me marijuana, LGBT? I mean, look at how pathetic we are. Is that our youth? When will you wake up for a cause? What more do you want? How many more people need to die to convince you you're created for more than this? We have a bigger issue. If we wake up, it was not in vain. The problem can be solved, but it takes time. Like this flower, you have to plant the seed. You have to water the seed every day. And guess what? In months, maybe years, you will see flowers. But plant the seed. I can't have a flower without that effort. That seed is me and you. That seed is our youth. That seed is us waking up and returning back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, deciding to be different. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to stand and respond back to His call. قولوا قولي هذا وأستغفر الله. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أفضل المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. وبعد, as a summary, Right? What can we do? All the short action items that we know and we heard in 2018, I hate to say it, 2012, 2008, 2000. Yes, dua is powerful. Please make dua. And it starts, if I cannot make dua, I cannot do anything else. Dua, writing letters. But what we discussed today, the two other items. Let's donate into an endowment. Let's create an organization that confronts that magician. We need it not only for Palestine, for our very existence here. Somebody should represent us full time, every day. If we do that, we've done something. We've done something not only to help them, to help us and the future of our own kids and the future of this. It's in our hands, every one of you. So that's the first item I said today. Second, please wake up. Please understand this is not just a political issue. It's me. I have to change. I have diseases. I have to take responsibility. I live in a privileged country. I have a responsibility. There is a greater cause than me. I cannot be self-centered anymore. We have to work together. We will not even, our future in this country, the future of our kids, we can't protect them if everybody thinks for himself. We need each other. We have to work collectively. We have to learn to come together. We have to wake up. That's a call. Respond to the call. Give ourselves back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is my second message for all of you. Like, having said that, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to worship Him properly in this and do something that earns us Jannah like it earns the Shuhada Jannah.